I really need to come up with like a professional intro for my videos. But I don't have one yet. So hi, hello. I got a lot of comments about my face. So that's what we're going to be doing in this video. What you're seeing right now, raw. This is my why did I say it like that? This is my skin. This is what I look like without anything on. If you guys want an updated like skincare video, I can do that. But this video is just going to be about my base. Skincare is also really important when you're doing your base. So there is some skincare that I do use. And the first thing I go in with is this Byoma brightening toner. Listen, I bought the wrong one. And I was too nervous. I got in my car and I was like, shit. And I was too nervous to go back in and be like, actually, I'm an idiot. I need to exchange this. So I'm using it. I'm not returning it. This is technically for the PM, but we're using it in the AM. I just want to throw this in here because I think it's so cute. Look at this little box. I keep my cotton rounds in this. Look at this little box I thrifted. Isn't she so cute? Oh, how cute is that? So cute. I just wanted to show that off. I'm sorry. But I take a cotton round. This part shouldn't need any type of tutorial, but decent amount on there. And I just wipe it on my face. So that is my step one. Low key, that's kind of nasty. I literally use micellar water on my face when I wake up, so I don't know where all that dirt and grime came from, but that's pretty gross. And the next thing I do is moisturize. I use the Peach Slices Redness Relief Moisturizer. I don't use a ton of it, and I don't put it on my nose. I just found that when I put the moisturizer, a lovely cat hair, amazing. When I put the moisturizer on my nose, my foundation just doesn't like sit quite right. Don't know what that's about, so don't ask me, but yeah, I just kind of go up the sides of my nose, but I don't put it on the top of my nose. And then that's it for the skincare. Next I go in with a pore primer. This is the e.l.f. Poreless Putty. And I only use it like right on the sides of my nose. Again, like the moisturizer, when I put this on the top of my nose, my foundation just gets really weird. So I only put it right here because that's the only spot where you can really see my pores on my face. So I just massage it into the skin. The next step is a very important step. I use gripping primer. This one is the best one I have ever used. This is by Wet n Wild. It was a part of their Nightmare Before Christmas collab that they so nicely sent to me, and I'm obsessed. I like this better than the e.l.f. one. I like this better than the Milk one. I think I've tried another grippy primer, but those are the two that are coming to mind. I like this better than all of them. This is my second tube that I'm going through, and I'm very scared to run out. So Wet n Wild, can we please make this in not Nightmare Before Christmas? Like, can we make this as just like a permanent product? Because this is the best one on the market, in my opinion. But for my entire face, I do 2 pumps. Oh no. That means she's running out. That sound just shattered my heart. But I rub it on my entire face, and then I go in and pat it. And then it's really, really important to let this kind of dry and get sticky, so that your foundation will stick to it. Okay, now that my face is all sticky, I go in with we're gonna move past it. I go in with my foundation. I use the About Face foundation. You can see clearly that I love this product. This is the Performer, I believe, and this is in shade F1 Warm. Also, if I'm remembering correctly, this retails for $20, so that is a really good price for a really good foundation. This is a skin-focused foundation, so I feel like that's why I get so many compliments on my base. I'm literally scraping the sides of this because I'm almost out. But I bought this at like the end of summer, so this lasted quite a while. But I think it's because I don't use very much. So I usually just use like 1 foot's worth. I don't know how to measure this. But I am like scraping the side of the product, so I am probably gonna have to re-dip. But I just plop it until I feel like it's enough. Okay, maybe I am gonna get a whole foot's worth out of this. I'm kind of just like rotating it. That looks like enough. And then I do go in with a beauty blender. This one is wet. This one's from Creature Cosmetics. It's the Return of the Living Dead beauty blender. It says more brains on it. I just think that's so cute. She's nasty though. She's nasty. But yeah, I just do what you're used to seeing. I just bounce this into my skin. And for people asking me too, I've gotten a lot of questions about like my forehead piercing. I don't put makeup on that. I don't put makeup near it. I probably keep about a 1/4 inch away from it. Like right there. That's as close as I'll go. I'm now realizing I probably should have just done one side at a time to like show you the difference. I'm sorry. I really should have done that. That probably would have made for a better video and representation of what this truly looks like. But it's beautiful. It looks like skin. I absolutely love this foundation. And then for concealer, I go in, I go in with the KVD. I think this is the Good Apple one. I did not like the Locket line. This line, however, was really nice, and I'm just going to show you where I put this. I don't wear much concealer. Again, I really, really like my skin to look like skin. So, sorry, I gotta use my tongue. I only put it like under my eyes, on my eyebrows, and over my piercing scars, and that's it. And then the beauty bitches. I'm not trying to be mean when I say that. The beauty bitches said it's really important to let this dry down so it conceals. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I'm low-key a little upset. I'm gonna tell you why. This foundation only works with specific products as far as concealers and setting powders go. I fell in love with this foundation. This is the best foundation I have ever used, and you cannot beat $20. But because I was using the KVD concealer and the foundation that goes with this line is also a skin focused foundation, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna buy the KVD one. It's skin focused. It should look somewhat similar to this, and that way I know that my foundation is going to work with the concealer. And then I think they have a setting powder maybe in that line as well. I don't know, I didn't do my research, if I'm going to be completely honest. But when I started running out of that, I bought the KVD one, and now About Face came out with concealers and setting powders. So I am going to test out the KVD one. I'll make a video on that. And if I don't like it as much as the About Face one, I'm going to see if I'm still in my days to return. And I'm going to return it, and I'm going to get the whole About Face line, because I truly believe that I am going to love the concealer, and I am going to absolutely love the setting powder that they came out with, because the foundation is so good. It's so good. And now we're going to blend this out. Do not come for me. I use my fingers a little bit. Okay. I know that's like not right, but it works for me. And I only use my fingers on my piercing scars, which are my cheeks and my bridge. So I'm going to do that really quick. I have to use my tongue to do the cheek ones. So I'm not gonna be talking while I do that, but I'm just gonna pat it in like that. And I do the same thing for my bridge. I kind of just tap it in and blend it out with my finger. I found that using the Beauty Blender just kind of picks up a little too much product when it comes to concealing these specific places. And now I'm going to go back in with that same Beauty Blender and I am going to blend out the concealer on my eyebrows. The only reason I put the concealer on my eyebrow tattoos is because I use concealer to carve them out, and I've found that when I don't put concealer under my actual brows, it doesn't blend correctly. It doesn't look right. So that's the only reason I really put concealer on my eyebrows to begin with. But as you can see, this concealer does a very good job and I do like it a lot. I do have to say, I do like it a lot. I have a feeling I'm really gonna like the foundation in this line, but it is more expensive than the About Face one. So now that About Face came out with the entire rest of the base line, I'm probably gonna go back to About Face after I run through the KVD foundation. And now we are Egg. And this is the point in my makeup where everyone was like, oh my god, your base looks so good. But this is the point where I do my cream contours and blushes. So I guess for the sake of this being a YouTube video and it's long form and I can make this as long as I want, I guess I'll show you how I do that too. So for my cream contour, I only do my cheeks and my nose. I don't do my forehead. I have bangs. What do I need to contour my forehead for? And I actually really like my jawline, so I don't contour that. I literally just do my cheeks and my nose. But I do use the Made by Mitchell Curve Case. This is the lightest one that you can buy. And for my cheek contour, I go in with this second lightest shade right here called Dune Up. And then I take this and I place it in the hollow of my cheek. Like so. Don't worry, I'm gonna blend it out, but I kind of just tap it in with the brush right in the hollow of my cheek, and I don't come down very far. I keep it pretty centralized to that hollow of my cheek, and then I take the same Beauty Blender and I just buff it into my skin. That is such a beautiful shade. So yeah, for all my girlies, my pale girlies, who have been looking for a cool toned contour, this is the one. That's cool toned. And the whole case, I think I got it on sale and it was like 20 something bucks. For a whole case of that for like $20, I think that's actually a really good frickin' deal. And now I'm gonna do my nose contour, and before doing that, I realize my nose contour might not be everyone's cup of tea. I like a very harsh, a very snatched and lifted nose contour. So brace yourselves. I use two shades for my nose contour. We're gonna be in the same palette and I'm gonna use the two darkest shades. First I go in with the lighter one just to kind of sketch out my lines, if you will. And then I go in with a darker one to like snatch everything up and sharpen everything. I don't know what that noise was. So the first line I do is gonna be on the bottom of my nose, and I'm gonna keep it very straight. I used to like a very rounded, like button nose type contour, and now I've kind of moved to this. Like this is more my vibe, but I draw a line all the way up the tip of my nose. I don't know if you can see that. I'm about right here. This is where my line is ending on the bottom. And I'm gonna dip back in, get a little more product, and I'm going to draw, I kind of use my nose piercings as like where to draw my line, but I'm gonna draw my line right about there. And then I'm gonna dip in the product again, and I'm going to draw a V going up, a very skinty V. Like I said, I like it like sharp and snatched. So I'm gonna start in the middle and work my way up and then kind of buff that line down the side of my nose. dip into the product again. And I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Start and make that other line very skinny. And it looks pretty center. So we're off to a good start on that. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna blend that. Just gonna blend it. Don't worry, we're gonna blend it out even more. I like a very harsh nose contour, so it's not gonna be completely blended, but we're gonna blend that a little more, don't worry. And then, now that I got like my outline, if you will, I'm gonna go into the darkest shade, Be the Light. This one was called Cloud Carve. This one's called Be the Light. And I'm gonna go in, and the first thing I'm gonna do is, oh shit, I'm going to outline that V. So I'm gonna go in with a very steady hand. So I'm gonna hold my breath while I do this. Cool. Don't know if you can see that. Don't know if I'm close enough to where you can see that. And then I kind of just like pat it in before I blend it out. Can you see the difference? Of course, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Make it nice and sharp. And I'm gonna hold my breath again while I do this. Skin tea. I feel like the holding my breath part really, really adds to the sharpness of it. But I'm just gonna take that, blend out the harshness up here, but keep the harshness in the middle. I'm gonna go in with that darkest shade again, right on like the top of the brush. So not like the side of the brush right here, but like the top of the brush. And I'm going to plop a line right there. Cool. And I'm just gonna keep blending. So I'm gonna put that darkest shade right on the bottom of my nose, build it up, and just blend all of it out. There's really nothing more to say other than blend until you're happy with the way it looks, which is probably gonna be blending more than I do. Like I said, I like a really, really harsh nose contour. But I do take my finger then, because there's nothing on it, and I kind of just pat in the sides right here, just so my side profile doesn't look as ridiculous. And then I am just gonna take the smallest amount of concealer and plop it right where I want like the light part of the tip of my nose to be, and just blend it out like that. And that's as blended as you're getting. And now we're gonna move on to setting powder. So I have recently started using the Onesize setting powder. I know in my initial review there was some user error that happened. Yes, there was. I'm still trying to get a hang of the packaging. That's definitely user error. I guess I'm not gonna dump that into the lid because none of the other product wants to come off. So I'm gonna show you how I set my face, I guess. I'm a full matte girly, so I use quite a bit of powder and I make my whole face matte. But there's a cat hair on my face. Hold on. I don't dab the excess powder off. I don't know what it does. Like, I know that it gets the excess powder like off your powder puff, but like, why do I want to do that? You know what I mean? Like, I want to use that powder. This was expensive, you know? But first I set underneath my eyes, and then I set my eyelids too. Just cause I do have hooded eyes and I don't want that foundation to get all like creasy and weird cause I'm gonna put eyeshadow on and stuff. So I just want everything to be as seamless as possible. And then I go in with a little bit of powder and I semi-bake the sides of my nose. Like I don't put like a fuck ton of powder on the side of my nose. But I do put a little more than usual and I don't blend it all the way out. Don't ask me what this does. I don't know. I see the beauty bitches doing it, so their makeup looks good, so I'm just gonna do it, you know? Yeah. There's no like right or wrong way to do this. But yeah, I'm just gonna take like that amount. I didn't do cream blush. That's okay. That's okay. We'll just do powder blush today. That's fine. Everything's fine. I will say this powder is really nice considering that every other powder I've used, I get really bad creases right here from when I smile because I'm talking and yapping and giggling and having a good time all day. So that part on my face creases the most out of everything. And I noticed with this powder, I can wear it all day. I went to a show the first time I wore this powder. I was laughing, having a good time. No creases. You can go back on that video and see. There was no creases right here. It was insane. That is like literally the first time I have ever seen that. And then the last thing I'm going to set is my nose. And I don't set anything above my eyelids because I obviously have to draw on some eyebrows. And I set my face before I draw on my eyebrows because I rest my hand on my face when I am drawing on my eyebrows. And if I don't set my face, then it just smears everything I did and it's like pointless. So I'm just gonna like fully tap all of this into my skin, and then I'm gonna do my eyebrows, which I physically cannot do on camera. Never have been able to, and this isn't the day that I'm going to try to. So yeah, now that this is all blended in, I'm gonna go do my eyebrows. I also do want to say really quick too, while we're on the topic of setting powder, this did not change the color of my skin. I know that was one of the things I was really scared about, and I totally forgot to say this in my original review because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning when I came back and my brain was like fried. This does not change the color of your skin. It doesn't turn you yellow, it doesn't turn you orange. I really do like this. Like, all the user error aside of that first time I tried it, I really do love this setting powder a lot. I do my makeup in a really weird order. It makes sense for me. It doesn't have to make sense for you. So after I'm done with my eyeshadow, I go in and I do my blush and I do my highlighter and I do my fake freckles. And for blush, I'm going to go in with my Unearthly Cosmetics. This is the Spring Magic palette. It's an iridescent blush palette. I do use this palette quite often. Today I'm going to go in with this dark purple shade. This is called Pendulum. I use like one of these brushes for this blush just because I like stamping it on in a certain way, because this formula is different than like a normal blush formula, and this is the way I have found that has worked the best. I also place my blush pretty far back on my cheek because I feel like it lifts my face. So I usually keep it pretty dense in this area of my face, and then I kind of use the excess that's left on the brush and blend it. And then just so you can see, this side has blush, this side does not have blush. I also love using my blush to contour. I don't care what color blush I'm using for the day, whether it's red, orange, yellow, pink, purple. I like to use blush to contour my nose, so that's exactly what I'm gonna do. So I don't go in all the way with the blush nose contour. I mainly focus it on like this top and bottom line that is on my nose to give it that lifted effect. And then I just take it and kind of blend it right at the start of that V and use whatever excess to blend up and out. Might not be your cup of tea, but I think it's very cute. Next, we are going to do highlighter. Every time I wear this highlighter, I get a massive amount of compliments in real life. And every time I wear it in a video, I get a crazy amount of comments asking what highlighter it is. So this is the Kimchi Chic. It is the Pearl Gone Wild. It went viral for a reason. I know some things go viral and they're not worth the hype. This is worth the hype, 100%. I don't even use a brush when applying it to my cheek. I go straight in. Look at that. That's insane. And then I just Crazy. I also find that the fingertip method works the best because this is kind of like a wet-ish formula. I don't know how to describe it, but like this is squishy. It's not like straight up powder, if that makes sense. And then I am gonna go in with the brush for the tip of my nose, just to show you that it does work with the brush. I think it is very important that makeup works with different tools and you can apply it in multiple ways. I'm gonna try and like hold my mirror kind of out of frame and look straight so you can see. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's all I have to say about that is yep. One of my favorite parts is highlighting the bridge of my nose too. I love this part. Stop. I'm also gonna like dab it under my eyebrow. I'm not trying to keep it concentrated as like a straight up brow highlight. I'm just gonna kind of like tap it underneath. Do the same thing over here. The next step in my base, I guess, because I consider this part of my base, is fake freckles. I get asked all the time how I do my fake freckles, and today I'm gonna show you how I do my fake freckles. And today for my fake freckles, I'm gonna be trying a new product. I am going to be trying out Holograve Cosmetics for the first time. Now, there's a couple different ways I'll do my face freckles and a couple different styles I will do my fake freckles in. Oh my god, can I get this freaking box open? God damn. So I'm gonna hold, please. Oh my god, while struggling with the package, I just noticed this. This product's called Moon Water. How cute is that? That's so freaking cute. Packaging, 10 out of 10. I always love a good iridescent logo, but this is going to be water activated liner, and this is in the shade Decomposer. So to do fake freckles this way, you have to be very careful because we are going to be using this as our tool. Now, you do not want to get this absolutely drenched and dripping. You want to dip it in your water, dip it in here, and that's about as wet as you want it. You do not want it soaking freaking wet because your freckles are gonna come out looking super freaking weird. So now that I have the water activated liner on my toothbrush, I'm going to very carefully flick it at my face. This is why I do it before my eyeliner too, because it's a brown. If I flick this on top of black eyeliner, it's gonna show up, and real freckles don't show up on black eyeliner. So that is the reason I do it in the order that I do it. I also like doing it after my blush and highlight because putting the highlight and blush over it, it just doesn't look the way I personally want it to look. All right, here goes nothing. I've never used this shade, so I really hope this is a good shade for me. Oh, this is literally the perfect shade. Yeah, I love this. And we're using the toothbrush method because like freckles aren't perfect in real life. So like it doesn't have to be perfect. It's okay if it's messy. I like to do some darker spots and then pull it away from my face and do like lighter spots. And I like to go super, super heavy on my nose. And don't forget the bottom of your nose. So this is what we're looking like with just the water activated liner. And I'm gonna bring you in closer in just a second when I do this next step so you'll really see like where we're at. The next product I like using for my fake freckles is of course the viral Marylia Scott Cosmetics water resistant freckles. I like going in with the second product because the toothbrush is completely random. This I can go in with and precisely place my freckles, but it's also a different color than the water activated liner. So it adds like a little bit of depth and a little bit of variation in the freckles. I'm literally like scraping the edges on this one, so bear with me. But now we're all zoomed in. The way I like to use this is to plop a dot and then carefully blend it out and place my freckles exactly where I want them to go. It's usually a little easier when there's actually more product in the container, but I don't like to waste. So we're getting every drop out of this container that we can. And again, it's okay if these aren't perfect. Real freckles are not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect, actually. I always like to add like really dark ones randomly throughout. Like I said, just to be random, I guess. I don't know. Feel like my right side is a little heavier, so I'm just gonna... I'm liking that. So to everyone who's been hounding me for my base routine, there you have it. I'm not saying that in like a shitty way either. It really makes me happy that people are just like, oh my god, her skin looks so good, I want to know what she uses. Like, thank you. But there you have it. I'll make sure to tag all the brands I used below so you can check out the products if one of them piqued your interest. But until next time.